As we begin our journey, find a comfortable place to sit or sleep in. Relax your body, soften your gaze, and prepare your mind for a tale from the past. Tonight we delve into the depths of history, exploring the events of the First World War. If you enjoy our journey, consider liking and subscribing before you drift off into the gentle embrace of slumber. Now close your eyes and let's travel back in time to the year 1914. The world was at peace until a single event set the stage for a war like no other. Nestled in the heart of Europe, a potent drama was about to unfold. It was a sunny June morning in the year of 1914. The streets of Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia, were bustling with life. There, under the blue sky, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, was visiting with his beloved wife, Sophie. Their journey, however, took an unexpected and tragic turn. A young man, Gavrilo Princip, a member of the secret Serbian society known as the Black Hand, stepped forward, his heart filled with nationalist fervour, and assassinated the Archduke and his wife. His act, born out of a desire for Serbian independence, set off a chain reaction that would shake the world. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand was the spark that lit the flame. It was the catalyst that set in motion a series of political and military developments that would eventually ignite the First World War. The intricate web of alliances and treaties that had maintained a delicate balance of power in Europe came crashing down. Austria-Hungary, backed by Germany, declared war on Serbia. Russia, bound by a treaty to Serbia, mobilized its forces. Germany, fearing a two-front war, declared war on Russia and its ally France. Britain, obligated by its treaty with France and Belgium, whose neutrality had been violated by Germany, declared war on Germany. Europe was plunged into a conflict that would span 4 long and bloody years. The world at large was taken by surprise. The nations, their people, their leaders, were unprepared for the scale and intensity of the war to come. The stage was set, the players ready, and the world unknowingly on the brink of a devastating conflict. The repercussions of this war would echo through the corridors of time, shaping the course of the 20th century and beyond. In the summer of 1914, the world held its breath as nations declared war, one after another. A complex web of alliances and rivalries had been carefully woven across Europe. When Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia following the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, it set in motion a chain of events that would change the world. Germany, bound by its promise to support Austria-Hungary, was quick to declare war on Russia and France. The United Kingdom, entangled in treaties of its own, declared war on Germany, making the conflict truly global. This intricate dance of diplomacy and aggression marked the formation of 2 major factions. The Allied powers, consisting of the United Kingdom, France and Russia, and the Central Powers, made up of Germany and Austria-Hungary. Like pieces on a chessboard, other nations began to choose sides, their decisions swayed by promises, threats and ties of blood and history. Italy, once an ally of Germany and Austria-Hungary, joined the Allies, swayed by the promise of territorial gains. The Ottoman Empire, eager to reclaim its past glory, threw its lot in with the Central Powers. Across the globe, nations braced themselves. Armies were mobilized, strategies drawn, and resources gathered. The air was thick with anticipation and apprehension, hope and fear. The world was on the brink, teetering on the edge of a precipice that promised only chaos and destruction. This was not a war of kings and queens, fought on distant battlefields. This was a war that reached into homes and hearts, a war that would touch every corner of the globe. It was a time of great upheaval, a time when the old world order was shattered and a new one struggled to emerge from the ashes. And so the world was plunged into war, a war that was to be unlike any other. This was the beginning of the First World War, a conflict that would shape the course of history, a war whose echoes can still be heard today. As the war raged on, the fields of Europe turned into a network of trenches, the site of some of the fiercest battles in human history. Imagine, if you will, a vast spider's web spun with barbed wire and mud, crisscrossing the countryside in an intricate pattern of survival and despair. These trenches, cramped and damp, were home to millions of soldiers. They were places of camaraderie and shared hardship, where men from all walks of life huddled together, sharing stories, dreams and fears. But they were also places of unimaginable horror, where the stench of death lingered and the constant threat of enemy fire loomed. In these trenches, the world witnessed some of the most devastating battles of the First World War. Take the Battle of the Somme, for instance. Beginning in July of 1916, it was one of the bloodiest conflicts, with over 1 million casualties. The roar of artillery, the whiz of bullets, and the cries of the wounded painted a grim picture of the reality of war. Then there was the Battle of Verdun. It lasted for nearly 10 months, making it the longest battle of the war. The French and German forces faced each other in a relentless struggle, each side determined to break the other's spirit. Verdun was a testament to the endurance of the human spirit, the will to survive despite the odds. But let's not forget that these battles were not merely about the numbers, the strategies, or the victories. They were about the men who fought them, the men who lived and died in those muddy trenches. They were about sacrifice and bravery, about the unyielding spirit of humanity in the face of overwhelming adversity. These battles were not merely battles, they were the embodiment of human resilience and the grim reality of war. In 1918, after 4 long, grueling years, the war came to an end. The world had become a weary, battle-scarred stage. The entry of the United States into the war the year prior, in 1917, marked a turning point. The fresh troops and abundant resources of the United States provided a much-needed boost to the Allied forces. Over the course of 18 months, the tide began to turn. The Central Powers found themselves stretched thin, struggling to keep up with the relentless onslaught. The Allied forces, rejuvenated and reinvigorated, pressed on, inching ever closer to victory. And then, finally, on the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour, the guns fell silent. The armistice had been signed. The fighting had ceased. The world had held its breath, waiting for this moment. The devastation of the war was immense, the loss of life unparalleled. But in that moment, there was silence. There was peace. In the months that followed, the leaders of the world congregated in Paris for what would be known as the Paris Peace Conference. It was a time of negotiation and diplomacy, a stark contrast to the violence and brutality of the war. The Treaty of Versailles was drafted, outlining the terms of peace and marking the official end of the war. But the scars of the war ran deep. The landscape of Europe had been irrevocably changed, both physically and politically. The war had ravaged cities, torn families apart, and claimed millions of lives. It had shaken the world to its core. The world breathed a sigh of relief. The Great War had ended, but its impact would be felt for generations to come. The echoes of the war still resonate, a somber reminder of the cost of conflict, the value of peace, and the resilience of the human spirit. In the aftermath of the war, the world was forever changed. The once mighty empires crumbled, their reigns of power extinguished, replaced by the rise of new nations, each eager to etch their names in the annals of history. The end of the war marked not just the cessation of battle, but the start of a new era. An era of change, of hope, and of uncertainty. Societies were transformed, their landscapes forever altered by the scars of conflict. Yet, amidst the ruins, seeds of resilience were sown, sprouting new life from the ashes. Politics, too, underwent a metamorphosis. The war had shaken the very foundations of global leadership, catalyzing a shift in power dynamics. The old order was replaced by a new one, with nations rising from the ashes, their identities reshaped by the crucible of war. Yet in the heart of this upheaval, the human spirit remained unbroken. People found strength in unity, solace in shared experiences, and hope in the promise of a better tomorrow. They carried the stories of their past, the lessons of their struggles, and the dreams of their future with them, weaving a tapestry of human history that continues to evolve today. And so, as we come to the end of our tale, remember that each night when you close your eyes, you carry with you the stories of those who came before us. Good night and sweet dreams. If you have any story suggestions, please leave them in the comments section.